This video is about the idea of submission and obedience to morality. It's the idea of the top martial artist forged with righteousness, knowing better and being more of a suitable leader than the masses of attractive females, among other things. So first let us consider the unavoidable fact that an attractive female can pretty much go into any bar or to most places, find an attractive man, mind you, and say to them that they're willing to have sex with him, but they must obey them and do it their way. And that man would do it. And to most men, they would say they would be able to say that they're willing to be their girlfriend if they obey them and do everything they say, and they would roll with it. So once we consider that, okay, and to consider then that to submit to me is to submit to morality, love and righteousness, versus to submit to them is to submit to conformity to this world. They are social butterflies, if you will. Even one of the symbols of Santa Cruz, where a lot of attractive females are known to congregate, is a butterfly. And of course the symbol of psyche, and so on and so forth. So to the submission to the highest point of morality, with no ill-gotten gains, is obviously what they should do. And if they can't do it, then they're showing that they cannot truly bring in truly moral children with martial art principles. The divine order should be what they prioritize. To martial means to order. Bear with me, there's a plane flying over. This is also proving my point, right? Why do I have to make these videos in a fumed house, in my car, on the side of the road, where even when I go to a remote place, there's still planes and helicopters flying over for Lord knows whatever reason. You know? And some people have brought up that perhaps this is connecting to gang stalking. Who knows? Perhaps it's a coincidence. Anyway, so once we consider the years I spent doing martial arts, right, forging my mind, my focused falcon vision, if you will, from 1997 all the way to 2019, we now see many years on record of me considering martial art principles and applying them to my life. And all the kind of exchanges I've had with females over the years, thousands of exchanges, thousands of attempted messages where I start to understand how they think, females from all over America and to some degree from other countries as well. We must consider willpower, dedication, determination, spirit. Yeah, so as I was making this video, I was interrupted by a phone call. Another thing that is a consequence of females not obeying. Okay? I can't even make my case effectively without disturbances because females aren't obeying. And because I'm being sabotaged by large groups of people, which include large groups of females, and some of them who are attractive. So anyway, I was talking about martial art principles. Okay? I have shown willpower, spiritual power, determination, dedication, okay, morality, love, honor, virtue, valor, truth, okay, conveyance of spirit, masterful application, spirit, okay, the spear of Horus, striking set, the spear of Horus, striking set in the boar form. We even see it in a Roman form. Right, here's another plane. Right, you can't make this shit up. All right. So I am the ideal man, and I gave the best years of my life to morals and was relocated by a society that pestered my family to the cuts in Morgan Hill. Now keep in mind, a lot of doctors are rich, they drive fancy cars, they wear fancy clothes, okay? My dad gave away his money for moral reasons. $300,000 a year in free service, okay? And he's been a brain surgeon for, I think it's approaching 30 years now, okay, in the San Jose area, one of the biggest cities in America, okay, like the 11th biggest or something, okay? So the nurses obviously are like the masses of American females. They look up to rich guys, established guys. They like to talk about how they're a nurse and get the respect from their friends. And a lot of people have a fetish for them. They're also a sex symbol in their own right, the attractive ones at least. Okay. So what we see is they don't have that same admiration for me because my dad gave away his money for free service and invested in various companies. Some of them, other groups of people scammed him and cheated him. Okay, most of them, rather. Okay. So because he's hopelessly invested in society, I don't have that same sort of ability to gain women. Don't you see how I've already proven my point here? Okay, if women are truly to be equal, then they must acknowledge that being equal means being equal to a human. And no human should be above the principle of what is truly the greater good, which is the true spirit of righteousness with no ill-gotten gains, morality, and love. Therefore, she must accept that they have displayed bad judgment individually and as a group by shunning people like me with a special emphasis on me. Good guys finish last. Okay? They sleep with their bosses at work 15% plus. Okay? All this horrible stuff they do. Hugh Hefner type scum with all kinds of attractive women flocking to them. They tell rock and roll stars to sign their tits, so on and so forth, right? They are submitting to all kinds of evil scum. Are they above deserving punishment for their lack of good judgment, which has brought in the masses of cowards and conformists who are unwilling to serve the true spirit of God, the principles of righteousness and morality? Are they above scrutiny? They demand the right in a democracy to be able to scrutinize politicians, but they themselves are saying they're above scrutiny, and they will censor you and silence you if you tell them the truth about themselves. The ideal man, they gave the best years of his life to morals. 2 doctors as parents, 1 a brain surgeon. They gave the best years of their lives to morality. My mom can be seen as the ideal woman from her generation that no smear campaign can take from her. They can go as attractive women and get men to obey. Who doesn't want them to submit to me? A bunch of corrupt politicians in the city council who are responsible for city planning, urban development, social interaction, social development, the culture and the ethos of the city. Utter sniveling, heartless scum. Don't want them to submit. Every person that approaches decency and righteousness knows damn well they should submit. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. If they did submit, the masses of men would follow. And people wouldn't even be able to pour a glass of water without morals overwhelming them, getting them to do the right thing. We have a guy claiming to be Jesus overseas who has thousands of followers. There's many sex cults in this country. In this country, the eugenicists that don't want them to obey for racist reasons, for evil reasons, for satanic reasons. Otto Banga was put in an exhibit in a cage so white people could claim that they're superior after all the horrible things they've done in this country. Their argument was an argument against licentiousness and criminality, when the foundation of their culture is licentiousness and criminality. That is what elevated them to those rich many positions that then gave them the money to leverage to say that they're superior and put a man in a cage and say this guy is an example of someone who's inferior. A small black man, mind you. Is it a coincidence that I am tall and I'm smarter and better looking than they are, at least before I was sabotaged? Is that a coincidence? That this guy was a Mason who coined the term eugenics. And Masons talk about physical beauty, among other things. Is it a coincidence that art and statues elevate Western conceptions of beauty, if you want to call it that, which is really governing class forced conceptions of beauty? At this point, I have proven that I'm the top martial artist to every martial artist who takes the time to figure out who it is. It wouldn't even matter if they could beat me at sparring anymore because they're morally insufficient. They have chose to let immoral cultures tell them what to do, or they have separated from society and allowed evil to overtake the world without them lifting a finger to do anything about it. The heroes, even according to the Greeks and all of their sexual immorality and debauchery, hero was the master. Heros meant master. A play on words for Horus, no doubt, especially when we consider the Greco-Roman statue of Horus, or whatever that piece of artwork is. Har where, air war, hor meaning face, hor where, face where? The outdoors, sparring. So you see the different forms that I have that make it clear that I could beat them. Who could consider themselves a martial artist without considering the angles you have to work? What angles could they work? Not only could they not beat me, they can't even bring up a viable argument as to how they would try to take me on, even though the challenge is not there anymore, and it doesn't matter. How would you take this guy on? You spend all this time, you other quote-unquote martial artists on the internet, bragging about why your art is superior, teaching people pointers and stuff. You can't even come up with a viable strategy as to how you would take me on. I'm too smart, too fast. My body is obviously made for this. This is like a mouse coming up with a strategy to take on the leopard. You can't do it. And these attractive females can't come up with a viable argument as to why they should not submit. Could anything possibly be more open and shut than this? Thank you. Okay, for those of you who need things put into perspective, consider the movie Braveheart, where he rebelled partially because the nobles were demanding the right to sleep with women on their wedding day. Okay, and they made it a law. Now think of King Louis. Why does he have a sword in this picture? Why is he such a beta? King Louis the 14th, I believe. Okay, you see how kings are the idea of greedy, sniveling con men, trade route ninnies who rise to power. Right? It's different than a martial arts pharaoh who's the king of kings. He actually deserves to be king, and he is the ideal man. Okay. So you still don't get it, right? Basically, the guys who go, oh yeah, when they use their ill-gotten gains to get the attractive females, whether they're Hollywood celebrities or rich sugar daddies or whatever, should have no business interfering, and having these attractive chicks, especially as they use cultural barriers and social norms and the planned activities, right? Social engineering to interfere, to keep me from the attractive females. And they're too busy being bred to be gold-digging swine to value morality over money. No amount of coercion and threat should keep them from someone like me. But it doesn't even take threatening them. They automatically jump on the gold digger wagon.